This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever. It wouldn't be a Faithfully Fantasy podcast if we didn't go super deep into gods. I think just because the last few books we've covered have had really strong gods. And I know that, again, this isn't the prediction bit, and I'll bring this up later. I just have a feeling that we're going to meet these gods. We learn it in passing, and Vis says there are so many gods. So you have Mira, who is for war. You have Arventis for luck. He says each has its own domain, its own sacrifices, its own specific forms to follow. Yeah. So this is just a snapshot, like a snippet of however many gods there are.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things fantasy fiction.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we'll continue our read-along of The Will of the Many with the chapters 48 to 61. And just a heads up, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
You can rest easy that there will be no spoilers from beyond chapter 61. From now on, consider us your buddy readers.
And before we start, quick reminder, if you love the show and want even more, we got our supporters options at faithfullyfantasy.com. You'll get bonus episodes, early access, and you'll be helping the podcast grow.
Also, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening. A quick tap and you've made our day.
Okay, then let's dive into...
Wait, what just happened? So this week, we open up with Vis in Class 4, paired with Iqua in the Labyrinth, which is now extra creepy because he knows it's a knockoff of the murder maze on the other side of the island. Indol then invites him to train with the Thirds over break on Suus. Yes, that Suus. The island where Vis's family was slaughtered. The island where he grew up. The island he absolutely does not want to visit. But of course he says yes. The Festival of Pletuna arrives and the Force head to Caten. Iqua gets distracted by a foundation match, giving Vis the perfect moment to slip away and meet Relucia, who basically admits she offed Ferian and will act again if needed. Vis fires back that if she does anything like that in his name again, he'll expose her, consequences be damned. She is not bothered. In classic Relucia style, she reveals that the Suus trip was her idea. Military senators will be meeting there, and she needs Vis to eavesdrop on a secret session using the will-imbued pen. If he fails, she'll kill one of his friends. Vis tries to follow her and overhears her discussing a cataclysm weapon with a stranger, then experiences a weird time skip moment that is absolutely not ominous at all. Before he can process it, two men corner him, but surprise, it's a sting operation. Iqua thought he was cheating with Will and tried to expose him. She was wrong, of course, apologizes and begs him not to tell anyone. Anyway, break arrives. Vis travels to Suus with Indol, Emissa and Belly. Kiskill's place, formerly Vis's home, has been renovated within an inch of its life. He meets Federique, the advisor who betrayed his family, but Federique doesn't recognize him. Or does he? At dinner, Kiskor parades Vis around like a prized show pony. Kiskill grills him about the Naumachia, but Emissa swoops in to rescue him, and they flirt in a corner like the teenagers they are. The next day, the group visits the beach. Vis pretends he doesn't like swimming. Translation, trauma. Emissa later sneaks out for a night swim in a lagoon Vis knows is deadly. He sprints after her, dives in and saves her from a riptide. They wash up in a cave where Emissa sees the scars on his back and confesses a huge secret about Indol. Vis kisses her. It's lovely, messy, and very them. Back at the palace, Kiskor demands Vis go through the ruins labyrinths and finds out what's on the other side. Vis says he'll die. Kiskor threatens to put him in a sapper. Lenistia, for once, takes Vis's side, but Kiskor isn't bothered. He and his wife are actually made for each other. That night, Vis sneaks through the secret passages and spies on the senators' meeting. He learns that military helped the Anguis plan the Naumachia, and now intends to sacrifice a naval ship to stir fear and gain more power. He leaves out 3 names from his notes, keeping them for future leverage. Federica catches him returning and reveals he only becomes a sextus to protect the remaining people of Suus. He shows Viz a storeroom with his childhood belongings, toys, keepsakes, his mother's bow. Viz is overwhelmed. Federica tells him violence is no answer to grief and that his father would be proud. The next morning, Indal quietly reveals he knows Viz is from Suus, though he assumes Viz was the son of an advisor, not the prince. He promises to keep the secret. The rest of the trip is calm. Viz realizes he needed this one last look at home, but now it's time to focus. 3 months until the Iudicium. Back at the academy, Calidus and Edin have become besties. Viz rearranges his schedule so he can train with Emissa in the evenings. Calidus confesses he once stole census documents for Belly, who then blackmailed him. Viz is having absolutely none of that and decides to fix it. 2 weeks later, he and Emissa bait Belly into a foundation match. Viz offers a deal. If he wins, he gets her class 3 spot. If she wins, he pledges to governance. She agrees. Mid-game, he quietly offers to concede if she returns the stolen papers. She does so, and then he keeps playing anyway, saying, "Not pleasant seeing your trust betrayed, is it?" Belly concedes. Viz joins class 3. Negias immediately begins the Iudicium prep. Rankings freeze. Indal at the top, Viz at the bottom. Each third must choose 2 lower-ranked students for the test. Viz obviously chooses Calidus and Edin. Calidus hesitates, shows him the census documents again to make sure he understands the danger, and then agrees. And that is where we leave Viz this week. Juggling conspiracies, kissing girls, rescuing friends, infiltrating political meetings, and somehow still finding the time for homework. And the Iudicium hasn't even started yet. That's a really long one.
So the funny thing about this is that we're getting now to the end of this book, but instead of getting more answers about what happened or what's going on, we start to get like more questions about all the stuff that we've seen before. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next ones. Like, how are they going to close everything? Or if we're just going to pass to the second one with lots of questions, they're not going to be resolved in these chapters.
They are definitely not going to be answered, all of our questions.
Yeah, that's what I start to see. There's so many things that we need to like see the answer, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm like being really careful to avoid spoilers. And I see like people asking questions, how does this work? And then the answer is always, just keep reading, you'll find out in the strength of the few. And I've managed to avoid spoilers so far, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Time for Confirm, Curse, or Completely Unhinged.
The part of the show where we either get to rank those bragging rights or have a good laugh at ourselves for being way too wild with our previous theories. Did you get anything right last week?
A couple of things, I think. So the first one that I said, the Viz won't be in third until he has this meeting with Alkiskor. I was thinking that the people from the fourth, they are really hard. They are really clever. They are really like physical.
They've been there a while. They're like settled in.
So I think this was like finally something challenging for him. So I was expecting that it's not going to happen easily. And yes, basically he advanced to the third after he has this meeting with Alkiskor. So I'm thinking that one.
Okay.
And then something that I said a long time ago is that I think it was pretty obvious that Viz and Emissa, they will have a romance. And finally, in this chapter, we start to see now that romance starts to be like something official.
Yeah, I really want an Emissa POV chapter.
Yeah.
Especially in the next few chapters.
Yeah. Do you actually have like bonus chapters or something between hardcover or...
No, I don't think so. Oh, there is a bonus epilogue in the new Target edition of The Strength of the Few or The Will is... I can't remember. There's a new one in America. We can't get it. But
okay.
It's the Target edition. And there is an extra chapter in there. But again, I don't really want to read that until I've read The Strength of the Few. Because I don't want to spoil anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely want an Emissa POV chapter. I can't wait for you to read the next few chapters.
Okay, let's start now with Screaming, Crying, Throwing Swords.
So our listeners will know that this is the part of the show where we talk about how we're feeling, what we think about the book, and ask any questions we have about the characters, the plot, or anything from this week's chapters. So how are you feeling? Still liking it? Still loving it?
From my point of view, every week we have like a new mystery, a new revelation, and it's just getting more and more intriguing. And even when a couple of times I start to forget like what is the main plot of this story because something else appears, then when we go back to the main plot, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this is what we need to do now. And it's just... I don't know how to explain it, but there's so many things going on at the same time, and all of them are just like, I want to know more. I want to like go deeper.
So are you finding it distracting, like all the different the side quests?
It's not distracted, but we start to see more information about the life of this. We start to see some dark secrets from military, the stuff that they've been doing. So that's something that I wasn't expecting. I would say, and obviously that opens the door to like completely different story as well. So it's so many different topics, and all of them.
I know.
One story.
And there's like the background in all the lessons, and you're learning like snippets of the lore, but not all of it. He must have had to have plotted this out so methodically.
Yeah, definitely. Because everything is properly attached. And you start to see that even when I see this like really complex story because so many things going on at the same time, and all of them, it's not something that is just, I don't know, a little distraction from the main plot. No, it's just like a proper story going on as well. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Even when I start to see the book is getting now shorter and so many questions, overly, I can't wait to start to the strength of the few.
Yeah, I can't. I didn't want this book to end. When I was reading it, I didn't know there was a second one. I knew nothing about it when I went into it. And I just didn't want it to end.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns when we started with this book, because I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so like big to start.
Yeah, and the writing is tiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so many things. And I was like, this is going to feel this like last forever.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
No, it goes really quick. So you can read it really easily and it's really good.
Yeah. When it came up at my book club, there was a reaction, like, because it got voted for and it was between one of two. And obviously more people chose to read it. But then they went, because they did it based on the blurb, then they went to pick it up and they were like, oh my God, this is going to take ages. And the writing's really tiny, but it's just so good. So who was your MVP this week?
I'm going to choose Vis because he went through so many tests during these chapters. And I think the biggest one is when he has to return to Suus. He has to face the kingdom that he has to leave behind, see what happened after. And I think just going through all of that while you put this, like, I don't know, mask that everything is good, that you're happy and honored to be there when you're feeling all these painful memories. For me, I felt that this has to be something really hard for him.
Yeah, I would have chosen Vis as well, although I'm going to go for Federico.
Okay.
There's some closure. I think because he's a big part of that, of why Vis was okay there. Like, there's some closure for him. The fact that Federico is there, he was shocked and horrified by the fact that he was a Sextus when he arrived. But then to learn that he had remained loyal all along and he'd kept his parents' things and his things in a secret room, and that just the moment in the room where they were talking about his parents. So what were your Ovek or rotting gods moments this week?
I'm going to start with this scene where Relucia is talking with this mysterious man after the meeting with Vis. And when I was reading, I was pretty sure that was Esteban, that he's still alive. Even for a moment, I thought I was just texting you and saying like, I knew it, he's alive. But obviously, after this, I start to like describing a little bit like about the face, the age, so obviously he can see it properly. And if he doesn't recognize it, then it's no Esteban. But I was thinking, okay, so who is this guy and what he's doing here? Because obviously what he's doing is something really important, like showing this power to Relucia.
So I think it's someone pretty high up in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed, and I don't know, I just assumed that because when we get to Suus and Vis is overhearing the conversation and you find out that they are working together, I just figured it was maybe, just someone really high up in the military.
Yeah. I was thinking that we will see this guy eventually, but I'm not sure if I will see them maybe like in a high level and in the pyramid, because Vis described him that he has like a scar that goes through the face, like from the forehead and goes all the way down. So I'm thinking that is something really specific to like recognize him somewhere else. So I don't know if I will see it like a senator or
yeah, he'll come back, won't he?
Yeah,
probably in the second one, because I don't know who he is.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean we don't actually know who he is, but I don't know who he is at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not from this place. Yeah. Like I suspect that Relucia isn't.
Yeah. Another moment is when Iqua start to suspect about this, because I thought as well that these two guys, they were attacking him, they were from the angles, because it seems that there's like two kind of factions there. So I wasn't expecting that this was another test, or basically a trap to tell to the teacher from class 4 that this was cheating with Will. So when I saw that this is what was happening, I was like, oh, Iqua, you had a big mistake here.
Yeah. She she pinned her position on it. She was really sure it was happening. Also, this sets her up as someone that, one, doesn't trust Vis, and that Vis can't really trust her, because she was being very friendly the whole time.
Yes.
Although she, on the transvect, she did kind of say, my dad isn't a Telemus fan, isn't a big fan of the Telemus family. But yeah, remember that going into next week. Remember this, like how he should perhaps feel about Iqua.
Yes, that is something that at this point, I think for Vis, it's pretty clear that yes, she is the daughter of her father.
I know that we're not going into the predictions yet, but do you think Iqua would take part in the Iudicium?
Yes, I think she will be involved as well.
Why?
It's just that she will still be a big part of this story, is how I've seen it. And I don't think, even after she fell in this trap for him, I don't think that means that she now is thinking that he is being fed or that he's not hiding anything. So I think she is just thinking that it need to like change the strategy. She is really good in the Labyrinth, and I think that's gonna be like one of the parts that going to somebody else in the third maybe choose her, because she is maybe a good strategist, even when she fell in this test for this. The other part that I wasn't expecting in these chapters is found out the military is funding the Angus, and they were behind this attack in the Pneumakia. They just basically, they are justifying their existence, building a threat for the people, so the people start to think that they need a military. Yeah.
I was saying that this is like an antivirus software company creating the viruses, just to keep themselves in business. And obviously their excuse is, we're just testing it. We're just seeing that we're ready, and we're just like developing these awful viruses just to kind of put their antivirus software to the test. But actually this comes back to what Calidus said about learning that the three factions are actually starting to disagree with each other, so much for stronger together. And the other two, so governance and religion, want to start taking some of the funding away from military and to kind of let the pyramids die a bit. So you've got retirement pyramids, and you would just eventually kind of make the pyramids smaller and smaller because they're worried that the military have too much power, because there is no one left to conquer. They have now taken over the world, but actually military are countering that by funding the terrorists, which is like awful, but not far away from a lot of conspiracy theories that exist in the world today, and that governments may be funding terrorist organizations. And like, I know they're conspiracy theories.
Yes, I was thinking the same as well. It's just as a lot of companies works, or even some governments and some countries, they just do really bad things against the people or against the customers, just because they know that in long term, that's something that's going to be really profitable for them.
Yeah.
Or they give them more power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It makes you reevaluate Sadosha's kind of reasons for marrying Elkiskor, possibly like some other relationships. I don't think Elkiskor knows this. I don't think he knows this.
No, he's not part of this, and I think
he's not high enough up, is he?
No.
But Sadosha is really high. She's only a sextus, but she's like she knows everything.
Yes.
She's now like number one, isn't she?
Well, she is the number one, that's going to say the pyramid of the Angus. And the Angus, obviously, they have people from military helping.
Yeah. And what does Elkiskor think her job is?
I don't know, because he says when he was talking with Viz and Emissa, and Emissa said that she wants to like climb higher the ladder before even getting married or having children. He said that, oh yeah, since as my wife. So I think that she's kind of like a politician, just given, I don't know if building relationships between other quintas or something like this. But she's involved.
Anything else?
Fadrika, he's a really interesting character because we see it at the beginning, like somebody that could be maybe betrayal the king and the queen. That was this first impression. They wonder how much it costs like the kingdom for the parents for him to change and that kind of stuff. I wasn't completely sure which side he will be. I knew that we will find that in some point with Viz doing something that he shouldn't do. When he was in these secret passages and he heard like some steps, I knew that was Federica. But I didn't know if it's going to be something good or bad for him. So I still I don't know what's going to happen here. But then it was like a really nice surprise when he started to see her like giving a brace. He was like nearly crying, my prince. And Viz knew that he couldn't fake that he actually was happy to see him. And then when he was telling he wants to take his group to the town so he can see there's people that still support him. The king and the queen, they were there before, showing there's people that still winning.
I don't think he would necessarily have taken them if Viz wasn't there. Risk though, because somebody could have shouted out, "He's alive!"
Yeah, just come here and just like kneel.
They could have done. Yeah, they could have learned. Yeah. How?
But I'm guessing the people there are clever as well if they do something against the prince, because the prince now is dressing as a Catanian person, I guess. There's like different cultures, so I think there he is undercover. It
also kind of goes some way to, obviously they were regal and there was a process and there was a lot of governance in place and the king was the king and he was the ruler of the people. But it also shows that they kind of like, the prince could just go to the local seafood restaurant and eat and not have a big fuss. So it does feel like a small island mentality, doesn't it? That like, well, they're one of us. But yeah, it's interesting hearing you say Fadrique in your accent, because like it's very different. All the names are very Latin, like ancient Latin kind of sounding. But this island does feel a bit more Spanish, doesn't it? You've got Diego, you've got Federique, Esteban, and it's beautiful sunshine. It's not like beaches. It feels like...
Honestly, I feel like one of the islands of Spain, like if you can on a Gran Canaria or something like this. So maybe that's why I pronounce the names like this, because Federico for me is like Federico.
Yeah.
That's Frederick, I think, in Spanish and English.
Freddie.
Maybe? Yeah.
I was never meant to love a human. But then, I saw her. I wasn't supposed to touch that fruit, but I took it, and I ate it. I was the most loyal of angels, until I lost her. Now they call me the devil, and I'll burn heaven itself before I lose her again.
Memoirs of Luzbel, a dark fantasy novel. Book 1 of the Luzbel saga. Now available on Amazon.
Yeah, I also found like the geography really interesting, because for me, it should be cold in the north and hot in the south, because I'm from the northern hemisphere. This is different. So the further north they go, the hotter it is, and the further south they go, the colder it is. And I'm like, that's weird for me. I can't get my head around it. But obviously, James Islington is Australian, so that would be normal. And then I wondered what it was like for you, because you grew up in South America, which is obviously in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So for you, the further south you go, the colder it is.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in Colombia, you start to go to the south, and then when you find the Andes, and then you have like Argentina, Chile.
Yeah, penguins.
You have places that covered in snow. Yeah.
But for me, that's weird, because I'm like, well, the further south I go, the hotter it gets. Well, obviously, if you keep going, but I don't ever go down that far.
Yeah, going back to where you were.
Yeah, I also thought it was really interesting how like Belly is from the south, like really far south, and she's got red hair, and that's kind of there's some people that I don't think Belly speaks with a Scottish accent, but some do, and they're from the south, and it feels like in the audiobook, and it feels like flipped for me.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah.
And finally, when Viz is breaking this deal with Belly, and he beats her in these kind of foundations, that was a moment that somehow I knew they would happen. But when I saw they happened, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. We were saying, I said, do you think it's going to be like a physical thing, or do you think... Because we obviously knew he was going to end up in third. It's like not the most difficult thing to predict. But I was I was like, oh, I'm excited for you to see how he does it.
Yes,
how he did
that was really good.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's kind of like chess, but you have to make... It's a bit more strategy, isn't it? So I wonder what the game actually is. He should bring out a game.
I don't know, because when I was listening to the audiobook as well, I was thinking something like a mix between chess and Jenga or something like that you were like building stuff and then knocking out all that stuff. Oh, is it
3D for you?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. I didn't imagine it 3D. I imagine it like two... You know how like... two triangles on a board, flat, with the pyramids pointing at each other, and you have to make it through the pyramid.
Yeah.
Maybe the other way around. Maybe with the base. Maybe we should try and design this game. Or we should ask James.
I think they're similar to that one. I can't remember the name, but it's like the pieces are like circles, and then you doing it's like a Chinese game, I think. Oh, it was created in China, and it's like triangles as well. So maybe it's inspiration for that. Maybe.
We'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
I love it. The fact that he also gets Belly back for...
Yeah.
Because we've now found out the real reason why Calidus is in 7th.
Yeah. It was because she was blackmailing him.
She took advantage of him. He thought he was in love with her.
Yeah. She deserved it in the end, to be honest, after that. And the way that he said it doesn't feel nice, like when somebody betrays you.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait for you to find out what happens next week.
What about you? Any party jump out in this reread?
So many. So I'm going to start with one that just came to mind now. The fact that 2 people were talking about changing factions. This is super interesting. So we find out that Indol is going to defect to religion.
Yes.
It's obviously some big
deal for military, yes.
And then something else which jumped out to me was Vis saying that he was going to, if he lost, then he would go to governance, which is really interesting. It's just interesting. I don't think he would have said that if that would have been such a big deal. You don't know whether it's Calidus that's made him think governance isn't a bad option or other things. So, but anyway.
So maybe that was like a win-win situation for him. Even if he lost, just going to governance anyway.
Yeah. So the fact that you now got like the politics of people shifting alliances and different pyramids is just interesting.
Yeah.
The conversation with Federique and the Room of Memories. We've talked about this already, but there are some objects in there which come back before the end of the book or at the very end of the book. And I had no idea that they were mentioned in this room. So it was just a nice thing to catch. And it's not the things that you think. It's not like the big things, just little things that are mentioned in passing. And that was nice to read because it was like a little Easter egg that you just would not have thought about in the first time.
Yeah.
Unless you have me being like, pay attention to everything because everything's going to come back. It wouldn't be a Faithfully Fantasy podcast if we didn't go super deep into gods. So I think just because the last few books we've covered have had really strong gods.
Yes.
And they've actually been people and we've met them. And I know that, again, this isn't the prediction bit and I'll bring this up later. I just have a feeling that we're going to meet these gods. And we learn it in passing. And Vis says there are so many gods that people just can't, without the holidays, without the festivals, nobody but the priests would be able to actually remember who to pray for what, who to pray to for what. So you have Mira, who is for war. You have Arventis for luck, Ser or Sere for fertility, Ocaria for rivers, Vorkian for metalworking, Furius for keys and doors. Like there's a god of keys and doors. He says each has its own domain, its own sacrifices, its own specific forms to follow. And then we learn this because he's talking about the Festival of Pletuna, which is the goddess of the harvest. Yeah. So this is just a snapshot, like a snippet of however many gods there are. And I just have a feeling that we're going to meet them. And I liked the will-locked stylus, the fact that he could communicate with Sedocia by drawing in a wax tablet and she would get the message on the other side. And I kind of thought this might be one of the first things that I'm struggling with in this book. And I was like, hang on, could he not have just had one of those with Ulkiskor? But I like thinking about it. I don't think they would have taken the risk of him having it because the way that Ulkiskor acted when he gave him the will-locked grapple hook the other week, or like the cuff that we were talking about last week. And he was like, you must destroy this. You absolutely must destroy it. So I feel like they just wouldn't take the risk of having something like that discovered on their person. And he snaps it in half at the end of this bit anyway.
We don't know neither if that's a kind of technology or power that he is able to do. I don't know if, because there are like different stuff that you can do according to your level. So maybe this stylus is something that
maybe Ulkiskor can't do that. Yeah, interesting. Maybe not. So maybe that's come from somebody else that she knows.
Higher level.
Yeah. And that she didn't actually make it herself. Interesting. There was one line in the book that, like, another one another one that is like just going to stick with me now. You know how like Esteban at the speech was saying the strength of a pyramid is in its base, and that's just something that I remember. Well, this is another one where Vis is on Suus and he's talking about all the people, and he's saying that most of them will now be Octavi. And he says they have enough will to work, but not enough to find the joy in it. It just made me think about capitalism and how most people are doing that. They've got enough will to work, but not enough to actually enjoy it. Okay, next. I just generally loved the part in Suus, especially when he eats in the restaurant. You think it's going to be a really traumatizing trip and it's going to bring back loads of memories of the last time he was there when it was horrific and he was basically watching his family get overruled. He didn't see them die, but Federico does confirm that they did. He lost his sister in the water, and like you think it's going to be terrible, but actually it's just really therapeutic for him. He comes back and he knows that his people are still there and they still care about him. And that one barman who just gives him a really nice meal and some wine, and he leaves him alone. He doesn't say anything, but he knows who he is, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then all the moments with Emissa, I'd forgotten about them. It's so hard for me not to say anything about what happens next week, but there's some like pretty big events that obviously like towards the end of the book, it like the shit hits the fan. And you just forget about these calm moments. So it was just nice to read those going into what we're about to go into. It's like, oh, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just really liked that part.
Yeah, it really felt like he was just there as a holiday, like a summer holiday or something like this.
Yeah, and you know, like when you're a teenager and like the first romances that you have, and you find yourself like reliving the conversations that you've had in the day, and they're all always like really awkward, but also they just make you smile. Just like this was going through that with Emissa, and it was just a nice bit of calm before the shit storm was about to happen. Yeah, and the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was Ulkiska getting more and more unhinged. Even Lanny thinks that he is in the wrong. She is appalled by the fact that he threatens to send Vis to a sapper if he doesn't run the maze. Yeah. I had a question though. Would the sapper actually do anything to Vis if he sent him to a sapper?
No.
Would it?
Because that happened already at the beginning. He wasn't affected, like tingly or something.
Just touched it for a tiny second. But I think so too. And I think Ulkiska knew that, and he's obviously forgotten.
But I found that as well that it was a little bit too much, because when Vis was saying that no, he can't do that, and then Ulkiska was saying, you said that you are willing to risk your life for this, so you had to do it. But actually, he's not risking the life there. That is just like death sentence. If he goes there, he's not prepared, and he doesn't even know what other stuff he's going to find out in this maze. He saw these shadows already killing this guy in the beginning, but guess not what it's going to be like more when he's getting closer or something, if it's going to be another surprise.
It makes me think there's more to Ulkiska. It makes me think that, like, and I don't know, because we don't find this out before the end of the book, but does he know more? Is he actually more powerful than we think he is? Did he send Zero to do the same thing?
It's funny because he said that he wants to know why his brother died, and that maze is saying that it's not the answer. So it's saying that it was something else beyond that maze, and that's why he wants to send Vis.
Well, it could have been the maze, couldn't it? But what makes it seem really sus is that Lanistia was not trapped there. She escaped, or she was rescued. And that is the bit that I don't get.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's pick up the conversation about all of this next week. I don't want. We're in dangerous territory, and I don't want to say anything.
Okay.
Is there anything that you were struggling with?
No, so far so good. I think this week has been pretty clear about what's going on.
Yeah, I've had nothing that I've been struggling with in the previous weeks until this one. So something that I thought I was struggling with was Relucia saying that 3 years is a long time. And she was like, no one will recognize you. You won't, you'll have changed. And I get that he might look different in different clothes. And maybe he does look different. But 3 years when you're 15 to 18 is not long enough to change.
Yeah. I don't know if when he was a prince, he's supposed to have like a short hair or something like this, because I remember that at the beginning, that was like one of the reasons as well that he wasn't getting like a haircut, because he didn't trust the woman who was like giving the haircuts, while all the orphans, they had like short hair. So I don't know if this is the rule.
Yeah, well, I think he had like shaved hair. He said his dad had a shaved head. I think he said that at some point. Yeah, maybe, but obviously it's not, because they do recognize him.
Yeah.
Frederica recognizes him, and the others do, or at least the restaurant owner.
Yeah.
It's just Sudocia saying that. She maybe it's like she knew and she wanted that to happen. It was a risk, but she wanted him to care about his home and realize that people still wanted him alive and in charge. So maybe she just thought that that would spur him on. So I've talked myself out of struggling with it. Yeah. There's been a couple this week where I've just been like, am I struggling with this? And then I realized, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Well, yeah, I have a few questions. So my first one is about this mysterious man that it was with Sudocia. So he does something, and then we say that this guy goes like through him, and it seems that it's like in the other side of the building or the room or something. So I don't know if he meant there was maybe like a spirit or a ghost. They just passed through him and went to the other side, or it was just like a jump in space, and then he was there with Sudocia, and then 1 second later he was behind him in the next room or on the other side of the buildings.
Yeah, I can't remember I can't remember why. No, we don't learn why. It's weird though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a skip.
It's like the way that he say it. For me, it's not clear if it's like goes through, so he can see that maybe like a spirit moving, or he just is in the other side. But obviously, this guy didn't see this because nothing happens after that. Or at least that's what I believe.
Well, no, it's a really suspicious time jump.
Yeah.
Right, I've got some questions for you, because there's some things that I thought you might ask. Why do you think they started the prep for the Iudicium so early? So they went into this, knocked Belly into class 4. He went into class 3, and then not like a week later or something, Viridius comes in and he's like, right, we've locked your positions. We are going to start prepping for the Iudicium. And this is like, hang on, I wasn't expecting this for like another 6 weeks or something. What's going on? Why?
There's something about him. I started to think they are doing everything to make sure that he's going to die, that he's not going to make it.
Interesting. I don't know the answer either. And I was wondering this time if it was because they didn't want him to progress to the top. They wanted his ranking to be the bottom, and they like knew that the rate that he's going, he's going to be ranked top, even though Nikias, who is the preceptor for class 3, hates him. He's big friends with Dultatus, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's still like third as far as in comparison to Dultatus, yeah.
Yeah, but Dultatus had a lot more students to hide behind, whereas there's only 4 in class 3, and Nikias has to kind of pull people into a conversation. So, yeah, I wasn't really sure. I didn't know whether it was because it could be 2 things. If they want this in the Iudicium, then it could be that they don't want him to be pushed down, because Viridius might not trust Nikias. might think he will get rid of him at any chance that he could get. So they're like, right, that's it. He's in now.
Yeah.
And they think that possibly...
They're helping him.
Yeah. Or the opposite. They don't want him to be top of the class. I don't know. It's a mystery to me, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Unless they're just going all out shit and it's going to be bigger and better. Oh, or it could be another reason. No, maybe I'll ask you next week once it's happened.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, so it's not going to happen in the next chapters.
Well, no, it could be that. But I didn't know that Viridius was in on it. So maybe it shows that he is in on something. What do you think of Viz's choices for the Iudicium?
I think he didn't have any more choices because he said that he needs people that he can actually trust. And he trusts those two very well. Plus, they have some skills and their own topics, let's go to say. So, Caladius, he's really clever. He's even potentially clever than Viz. And Edin, he is really good in the physical part. So, they are not there just because they are Viz friends. They are there as well for their own merit.
Yeah, Caladius should be in class 3. And he would have been had it not been for Belly. And Edin probably would be 2, maybe not class 3, but he'd be
higher.
5 or 4.
It's the language that's the problem for him.
Yeah. Pretty amazing that he was in 6, even with the fact that he couldn't speak the language very well at all. So, like, imagine what he would have been if he'd...
Yeah, I know. I can imagine because I've been there.
Yeah. There are so many secrets that guy is hiding. I just really want to know more about Edin.
Yes.
You'll be even more intrigued by the end of the book.
Well, I hope so, because part of me is thinking that he's not going to make it.
Really?
Yeah. There was like a clear mention about the dangers, about what is going to happen. So this is something I'll talk later in my predictions.
Yeah. What was going to be one of my questions for your predictions if you weren't predicting any deaths? So, shall we raise the dead languages?
Okay.
So let's raise the dead languages. This is the segment where we look at the Latin names for characters, places, and things in our hunt for clues. It's not many this week. So we've got the Iudicium, which is judgment, which is really the final test. It changes. It changes to every year, probably because they don't want people like guessing what they have to do.
Yeah.
Over preparing. Scitus. Knowledge. Emissa is scent.
Which makes sense because you have an emissary, maybe, or
Emissive. Oh, emissary. Yeah, you send somebody.
In Spanish, emisario.
Yeah, emissary. And then there's like a missive, which is like a letter that you send.
Yeah.
And belly is war.
War. Don't know, for me, belly just means like belly, stomach.
Belly would be with a Y. It's belly.
I know, but it's how it sounds. Yeah.
Okay. So, the will of the maybe then. This is the part of the show where we will lock in JC's predictions for the rest of the book, and possibly mine, definitely mine, for future books, in the hopes that we get at least something right by the end of the series. So, what are your predictions for the end of the book?
So, I'm thinking that Indol, he will find out that Viz is the former prince of Suus. So right now he's thinking that he was just the son of somebody like an advisor or somebody important.
I know, like so close, but so far. Like, what an idiot. Indol's supposed to be clever. Indol is class 3. And he couldn't work out that he was not the prince. Like, were there not any drawings? Weren't there any family portraits in them? This might be something that I'm struggling with.
I'm guessing that everything was get rid of that before
what about the one guy that knew and he was just strutting around? Somebody had to clear those out during the renovations.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely shocked if there was no paintings.
Well, even the coins, they had the figure of the father.
Face of the dad.
Yeah.
Huh. More people know,
But
don't they?
this is what I mean. That he was really clever to see V's reaction when he was in this island, when he was walking through the palace. He knew that this wasn't the first time.
Even the way he walked through the doorways.
Yes, exactly.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm guessing that the house was really big and he knew exactly where they take him to like
and you were like
rooms.
turn to the right or turn to the left depending on where
But when he said it was maybe the son of an advisor or something like this, I'm thinking it's maybe because they told him that all the royal family they are dead, so and gave him that excuse that he wasn't thinking about the prince because for him the prince is dead, like the whole family. But I think maybe he will feel curious about him, about this, and start to think about if there's any records about people of his age, like 3 years ago. And maybe he's going to find out the only people in the palace and that age is going to be the prince and the cousins. So he's going to think that has to be this, the prince.
Oh, maybe
That's
not.
what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay, next.
Then, talking about Eden and Calerius, I'm thinking that in this test that this has to do with the friends, I think he's going to lose one of the friends. No. Because Calerius was showing these documents that are so important to this, like telling him that you shouldn't do this because of this. Are you sure that you want to carry on with this? So for me, that was like spoiler alert. This is something really dangerous and people die or disappear because of this. So I'm thinking there's going to be Calerius or Eden.
People die.
Or disappear.
No, people do die. I'm not going to confirm or deny whether it's one of his friends, but...
People die.
People die.
Yes.
It's bad. It's like really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Too dangerous.
Yes. Okay, next. I'm still thinking that this, in the next chapters, he has to go to the Labyrinth and he won't be ready. And thinking about the one that's in the ruins. And I don't know why he has to do it, but I got this feeling that something's going to happen and he's been forced to do it, or he has to do it.
He has to do it, otherwise...
I mean, he has to do it, but... the idea is that he has to do it maybe when he feels more prepared before the end of the year. But I think he was going to feel that he should have had more time, but he had no time now. He has to do it, but he is not prepared. He's still thinking that he's not ready 100%.
Don't you think it's interesting how, like, even in class 4, they have somebody moving the stones for them? Mm-hmm. Whereas it's only in class 3 where they start having the
bracelet,
the bracer on themselves.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, I don't know if it's maybe like you go by stages, like you focus first on running, and then when you have cleared the running, then you have to add it that you are the one controlling the doors.
Yeah.
So.
And then you have people chasing you.
Yes.
To represent the remnants.
Or whatever it does things.
The remnants.
Yes. And finally, by the end of this labyrinth, we're going to find it's just like a gate to another realm. So it could be like the realm for the gods, maybe. We'll see one of these gods that you mentioned before in one of these.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that it's a gate. I do not open the gate. But...
yeah, but a gate... for another realm, or a gate when there's like a beast or monster or a weapon?
So I do think that we will meet the gods in the next book. I was interested in what you thought the task might be. Because in the last... So we know that they've had to command a group of students. Mm-hmm. We know that when it was Zero's year, they just dropped them in the forest and they had to survive and do something. What do you think?
I think they had to do something like this, but instead of the forest, I think they're going to take them to one of the parts of where they had these ruins.
You are not prepared. You are not prepared. And then my other question was, will anyone else die in the Iudicium? But you're putting your money on Eden. Poor Eden.
Yes. No, but that's from these friends. But if I were talking about the other things, I think Iqua will die as well. I'm not sure about Indol. I think he looks like a character that little by little has been built to be like somebody important to Viz. So I'm not sure about him. I don't think he will die there. Hopefully, Emissa will survive.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Awkward.
No, I'm not like you're not prepared for that storyline at all. You have to go and read
It's
it.
gonna be just V is the only one who survives. Everyone dies. The end. Better cliffhanger than that.
Yes, there is a better cliffhanger than that. It's quite a cliffhanger.
Yeah. We will find out next week when we finish with the book.
Yes. So sticking with the theme of precognition, let's look at the chapters that we're going to cover next week.
So next week we're going to be with the end of the book. So we're going to cover chapter 62 right to the end.
So before we end, let's go sapping for secrets, the part of the show where we pose ourselves a question and sap deep into our will for the answers. Unlike our main man Viz, we're not immune to the sapper, so there's no dodging, no scheming, just the truth. So last week, I said, this is a weird one. I did give you the warning.
Yeah.
So imagine you could actually speak to a person in a Vitarium. Which famous figure who is no longer with us would you choose to speak to?
When we were talking in this episode and we started to talk about, I don't know, like conspiracy theories and this kind of stuff that is happening around the world, I came with the idea that one celebrity that I would like to talk about, it would be Paul McCartney. And then you would see me, oh, but Paul McCartney is not dead.
Because you'd find out.
Conspiracy.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, because the conspiracy theory said that he died like, I don't know, 40 years ago.
If he didn't show up, then you'd know. And then you'd be like, oh, I wasted my chance.
Yeah, no, but that was like, that would be a funny one. But like a real one, if I had the chance, it would be definitely Leonardo da Vinci. That would be always
my... that's a really good one.
Yeah, like my top.
I don't think I'd understand what he was saying. I'd be like, huh?
Pasta pizza.
No. I don't mean the Italian. I mean the fact that he is super brainy. I'm super brainy too, I know. But
yeah. Well, for me, the fascinating thing about him is that when he was describing himself, everyone knows him as a great painter. But when he was showing, like, let's consider the CV, painter was like the last thing. So he said, I'm an engineer, I'm a botanist, and this and this and this. Also, I do paintings.
It's his hobby.
Yeah. It was more something that he enjoyed to do.
But he also put loads of Easter... Well, he might not have done. This is like Dan Brown's version. He put loads of Easter eggs in. He was like the Taylor Swift of the of the painting world.
Yes, definitely. I would love to have a chat with him.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I found this really hard because I was instantly like, oh, I just want to have a chat with my granddad. And I know he's not famous, but he was famous for me. No, so I thought of a few. For a fun one, I would like to have afternoon tea with Maggie Smith. She would have so many stories about
Harry Potter.
No, not just that, but she's known showbiz for like years and years. Oh, she would just be a really lovely person to have an afternoon tea with. But then I settled on, I couldn't choose, honestly. I had three. The other one, which you might think is really weird, but somebody that absolutely fascinates me is Mary Shelley. Like, since I studied Frankenstein in school, like this is years ago, she basically created the genre.
Fiction.
Well, yeah, it was like horror. It was like, she was 19 when she wrote that. And she just created Frankenstein from her mind. Yeah. And she was a 19-year-old woman in a world where authors were men. And like just the fact that she was incredible, and it would be really cool to sit down with her. Also, I'd imagine she's a bit weird and kooky, so you'd have to be, wouldn't you, to come up with Frankenstein? Yeah, I finally settled on an even weirder one. I'm sorry, I have had 3 answers, 4 including my granddad. Yeah. Cleopatra. Yeah, she absolutely played Rome, and it would be, and I was thinking about the Roman themes for The Will of the Many, and wouldn't it be really good to sit down with Cleopatra and just be like, go on, tell me how you did it. She'd have all the tea.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Because you could ask her all about, like, what does she know about the pyramids? And she'd be like, I don't know, they were there when we got here.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
What do you know? You have the technology now.
No, the Sphinx was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been there for thousands of years, like 10,000 years.
And yeah, like ancient Egypt is a bit fascinating anyway. And then you've got that, and then you've got the links with Rome. So yeah, I settled on Cleopatra after my, like, a bit of a superficial one with the Hollywood bit. Well, not really Hollywood, but Hollywood, but...
Yeah, but like 3 important
British acting royalty. Then I went down the bookish route with Mary Shelley, and then...
The part that I find incredible about Mary Shelley is that she created this, but she did it was for like a bet. I think the story that she had a bet with 2 other friends that who can create like the biggest story like in a summer or something like that.
Yeah, and she just has no idea how
big will be that story.
Yeah. And it's like defining the genre. She created a genre. She didn't like just... write a book.
It wasn't copying anybody else. It was something original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally unhinged, and I'd really like to meet her. But yeah, no, I settled on Cleopatra because I think you could get loads of ancient history, secrets, and also it's like how she played the emperors of Rome.
Yeah. Cool.
So this week, Federico takes Vis into a room full of his childhood belongings. If you were to do the same, what is one thing you would love to be able to see again from your childhood?
Oh, nice. Need to think about this one deeply because right now I can't think about anything.
Yeah, there's so many things for me.
Really?
Yeah, again, nice. I'm gonna try and pick one actually next week and not 3.
Yeah.
Okay. But we'd love to hear from you as well. So put your answer in the comments and give us a little bit of inspiration for next week. So that's all for this week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. Come and join the conversation. We'd love to hear if you're reading along. So if you've got thoughts, send them our way.
And with this, we have just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things The Will of the Many.
We'll see you next week for our read-along of chapter 62 to end. And of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye.